Hi guys, so today we are going to be using a while loop. First, to get started, we are going to take the lazy route and go into our Finder. And there, I kind of work from the desktop. So I'm just going to create this new folder and I'm just going to call this side for side projects. And then just as easy as that was, all I have to do is go into my new VS Code that I have or whatever text editor you're using. And then I'm going to open that folder that we just created. And that is inside of desktop, side, open. Sweet. All right, and then once that loads in, we can go ahead and we can create a new file inside of our side. And since this is going to be a kind of a funny one for me, my idea of a while loop is if you're underage or the correct age to enter bars. So here we're going to call it bar while loop. And then that has to be .py so that our file editor knows that this is a Python program that we're running. And then you can see that this has this little symbol here that stands for Python, which is kind of cool. All right, so the first thing we want our user to see is kind of like a note or a message, just so that they know what's going on. So I'm going to say, okay, our note is going to be set to, oh no, it's past 8 p.m. Bars are only open to those over 21. Uh-oh. This used to be an issue to me when I was younger and wanted to eat out with my family. Plus equals, so this just means plus equals is just saying we're also adding this to the assignment of note. So we're going to say, please enter your age. And then we're going to give them a little bit of space so that they think, okay, this looks nice. Let's enter our age. And then we're going to go down here. And this is where we start our while loop. So while true, so this is whenever this loop is going to be running, basically, we want to try and take our note. So I'm going to set this to a new variable called age, because this is what their age is going to be. And that's going to be the integer version of their input that they gave us for note. So basically this line is saying, okay, you want to set age to whatever they had their age up here in note as. And you're taking the input from that user so that they can actually get this in a terminal message that will let them put whatever they want in there. And you have it set as integer because anytime somebody puts an input, it actually saves it as a string, but we want this to be a number. All right. After that, we can have an except, which means if this isn't working, like if somebody isn't putting an actual age, something that can't be converted into a number, we want to print out just like something that lets them know, hey, you're doing this wrong. So we're going to say, whoops, you have invalid input. Sounds a bit like an email. After that, we would just continue because we want our program to just say, okay, they did this wrong. Let's try again and let's keep going. And it's just going to check to see if you have a different age to enter. And it's just going to keep going until you have something correct. So then after that, we're going to go down a couple of spaces just so it looks nice. And we're still staying inside of our while loop. You want to make sure that you are always being careful about your spacing as well. Notice I'm always using 4 spaces. That's just how Python is. If you don't do that, it can mess up your syntax really bad. So we're going to say, okay, if your age is less than 21 and you're a minor, we're going to print out, sorry, you aren't old enough yet. Uh-oh. Lots of exclamation points here. We are very emotional. And then we're going to break that because that means, okay, they aren't the age they're supposed to be. So that means that our loop is done. So that's going to break the entire thing. That's the difference between a while loop and a for loop as well. For loops are definite, meaning that you know, okay, it's going to run until, say, it gets to spot 20. So it's going to run all the way into 20 times, and then it's going to say, I'm done. but our while loop doesn't have a definite ending. So we need to tell it when we want it to stop. And this point is when we're going to break that. Otherwise, we could try if age is greater than or equal to. So if you are 21 or older, then we can print, take a seat. Welcome. Exclamation point, because why not? And then after that, we could also break that loop. So it's one or the other. You're either, oh, and I have an if and an if, which is not nice. We just want an else if, which is another conditional statement. The nice thing about while loops is that they're all based on a specific condition. So if this is set to this, then this would break your loop. Otherwise, if it's not, you're going to keep going and going in this loop and it's never going to end. So let's actually see what this looks like right now. All right, so we are just in my terminal. That's all I pulled up. We're not in any folders right now. We can look at what I have. We can hop into desktop because that's where all of my stuff is saved. So we're going to CD, so change directory into desktop. If you could hear my laptop yelling at me, it's because I forgot the CD part. LS, and then inside of here, ooh, there's side. So we're going to CD into side, LS. LS just means that we're checking to see what my file is in here, which they see. We have our bar while loop, which is what we want to use. And then we're using Python 3 right now. And we're saying we want to use Python 3. And then I'm just going to use the tab so that it knows that I want this file. It's the only file I have. So it's a pretty smart computer. It knows that I want to run this now. So, okay, it's past 8 p.m. Bars are only open to those over 21. Please enter your age. So we can enter our age, and we will, just to test it. But one thing I'm seeing that I don't like is that there's no space between the 21 and the please enter your age, and that looks kind of not nice. So I'm going to put in here a \n for new line so that it's kind of more paragraphy and doesn't look so ugly. And then I'm going to set my age to 18. Uh-oh, I'm not old enough yet. So like I said, this wasn't how old I was supposed to be. So it broke our code. So it did what it's supposed to on line 15 and it breaks. All right, so let's try it again. Let's go to Python 3 because we're running this program again. And now it says it's past 8 p.m. And notice how nicer this looks a little bit. Right over here, where we didn't have the space before, we gave it some nice space. And now you can actually see, please enter your age as its own thing. So now we're gonna put 22 because that's my actual age. And take a seat. Welcome, we've made it in. And that's all you really have to do.